All right, everybody, welcome back to our weekly yoga practice. Let's begin in child's pose, starting on your hands and knees. Separate the knees a little wider than the hips, toes together. Relax your hips to heels. Please remember to modify any part of your practice today. Challenge yourself where you can, back off if you need. So let yourself settle into your space. And just kind of soften into this gentle shape. Let the shoulders soften. Then let the breath start to lengthen. All right, try to keep the breath moving in and out through the nose as best you can, so we can get right into the parasympathetic system, calming down the body. And when you deepen the breath, really think about sending the breath through the lower back ribs, right? Really expanding through the sides, creating space. And let's start to engage the Ujjayi breath, breath with sound. Start taking 3 more deep breaths right here. And start to come up onto your hands and knees. Let's go right back to downward facing dog. Hips up and back. And in your first down dog of the day, feel free to walk out the feet a little bit, bending one knee, the other. Just kind of shaking things off, shaking off the morning. On a big inhale, lift up the heels high. Exhaling, sink the heels back toward the mat. Let's roll forward to plank pose, lining up the shoulders over the wrist, and roll to the outer right foot, taking a side plank, face the left side of the room. So the left leg is on top, and modify here any way that you choose if you want to do so. If you want to drop the right knee on the mat. All right, just keep the breath strong, maybe peeking up at your left arm, left fingertips. Take one more deep breath. Start to lower the left hand, return to center, go the other way, face the right side of the room, right leg on top. Again, modifying any way that you might have done so on the first side. Good, let's take one more deep breath in. On your next exhale, return to center plank, then lower your knees, lower the chest and shin, coming into a modified chaturanga. Untuck the toes, slide through into low cobra, tops of the feet down, chest up. Bring it back to down dog. Let's hold for another deep breath. And start to soften a bend in the knees, look forward, walk or hop the feet lightly to the front of the mat. Keep the feet hip-width distance apart, interlace all 10 fingers behind the back. You can keep a soft bend in the knees or bend up the knees nice and deep if that feels better. We do want to release the low back here, so just keep at least a micro bend in the knees. Keep the breath strong. Take one more full breath in. On the exhale, relax the arms toward the mat. Begin rolling up slowly to stand. As you press down, uncurl all the way up. Come to a nice tall alignment, bringing palms together at the heart. Maybe closing the eyes if you want. If you need to keep the eyes open, you can. Just soft downward gaze past the end of the nose. Just setting an intention for your practice today. And start to open up the eyes. Big inhale, sweep the arms around and up overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, dive over the legs. Sending the left leg back in a low lunge. Come into warrior one, spin the back heel down, float the arms high. And as the arms reach up, let the shoulders move away from the ears. Draw the right hip back just a little bit. And maybe looking up at your hands, take one more full breath. Then lower both hands to the mat, step to down dog, bring the right foot back. On your next inhale, take it forward again to plank. Then lower to chaturanga or drop the knees if you're modifying. Inhale, cobra or up dog with straight arms for your back bend. Returning to down dog or take child's pose. 3 deep breaths. And from your downward facing dog, start looking forward through the hands. Walk or hop the feet lightly to the front of the mat. Once again, folding over the legs with the feet hip width distance. Interlace the fingers behind the back, but change the grip so the opposite pinky finger sits on top, letting the arms reach overhead. Keep the head dropping down with at least a micro bend in the knees. Or a deep bend, of course, if you choose. Take one more deep breath in. Exhaling, drop the arms toward the mat. Roll up slowly to stand. Let your head come up last. Press down, come all the way up. Shoulders back, Tadasana. Big inhale, sweep the arms around and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, dive over the legs, Uttanasana. Stepping the right foot back in low lunge as we set up warrior one. Spin the back heel, 45-degree angle. Float the arms high. The legs press down, keep lifting out of the waist. Maybe peek up if you can. Bring the shoulders back down. Take one more full breath. And lower both hands to the mat, down dog, step the left foot back. On your inhale, bring it forward to plank, lower to chaturanga, or drop the knees. Inhale to your back bend, tops of the feet on the mat. Return to down dog or child's pose, 3 deep breaths. One more breath. From your downward facing dog, start looking forward through the hands, step or hop the feet lightly to the front. This time, let's lift the chest on the inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round down over the legs, keeping the feet hip width distance. Start to bend up the knees nice and deep, your fingertips reaching toward the mat. Coming into a modified chair pose, let the arms reach forward, maybe slightly up. So you don't want to go all the way up with the arms because it's probably going to tighten up the shoulders a little bit too much. Start to lift your heels off the mat. So we're balancing toward the toes. Maybe sit the hips half an inch deeper. Take one more deep breath in. On the exhale, lower the heels, dive over the legs, fold, stepping your left leg back in a low lunge. Warrior one, spin the back heel down, bring the arms all the way up. Let's sweep the arms behind the back, interlace all 10 fingers again. Chest up, keep the right knee bending deep, round it into a humble warrior. Soften the head down, let the arms continue reaching overhead. Take one more full breath. And press through the legs, lifting up through the crown of the head. Come all the way back up for warrior one. Warrior two, reach out to the side. Look over the right middle finger. Give it one more deep breath. And start to straighten out the front leg. Turn the right toes in so you're facing the side of the room with the arms reaching out. Dive over the legs. Slow, slow, slow. Keeping the breath moving. coming into a wide-legged forward fold. If the knees need to bend here, let them bend. You can either just keep the hands on the mat if you want to walk the hands out front, or maybe slide the hands through the feet going the opposite way. Just keep letting the crown of the head lengthen toward the mat. Take one more deep breath. And bring your hands toward the center of the mat, lifting the chest. Let's rock to the back. Bend the left knee. Keep the heel on the mat, coming into a low side lunge. Come into a low lunge at the front of the mat. So the right toes plant down. Walk the hands around. Come into a down dog split. Lift the right leg up and back. Put a bend in the knee. Open the hip. Drop the head down as you peek under the left arm. Maybe make a circle or two, rolling the right foot. And slowing it down, start to drop the right hip a bit. Bring the knee to the nose, curl it in. Inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, bring the right knee to the left elbow, cross it over and pause. Inhale, the right leg lifts up. Exhale, low lunge, step your foot through the hands. Step your left foot to the front of the mat, fold over the legs, again with your feet about hip width distance apart. Start to bend the knees nice and deep. Right, tailbone back, shoulders back, then lift the arms up. Yeah, maybe the arms slightly higher. Right, drop the shoulders back a little bit more. Start to come up off your heels, balancing toward the toes. Really firing up the legs here, firing up the quads. Maybe drop the hips half an inch more. Take one more big inhale. Exhale, drop the heels down, fold over the legs, stepping your right foot back in a low lunge. Warrior one, spin the back heel down, float the arms high. Humble warrior, drop the arms behind you, change the grip, interlace fingers, open the heart, keep the left knee bending deep and round it down. All right, the crown of the head lengthens toward the mat. Arms continue lengthening overhead. One more breath. And press through the legs, lead through the crown of the head, come all the way up. Warrior one, arms high. Warrior two, take it out to the side. Look over the left middle finger, one breath. Good, start to straighten out the left leg. Turn the left toes in, facing the opposite side of the room. Dive over the legs, slow, slow, slow. Keep the breath moving. Then let your hands, again, either just lower to the mat if you want to hold on to your feet, maybe your lower legs, maybe grab onto your big toes. Keep the shoulders softening away from the ears. Keep the crown of the head reaching toward the mat. Deep breaths. Let's take one more deep breath. And on your next inhale, we're lifting the chest, hands toward the center of the mat. Rock it to the back of the mat, to the right, low side lunge, Skandasana. Keep the right heel on the mat. Come into a low lunge at the front of the mat. So the left toes point forward, walk the hands around, down dog split, lift the left leg up and back. Put a bend in the knee, open the hip, drop the head down, peek under the right arm. Make circles with the left foot rolling at the ankle joint. Start to drop the left hip a little bit, pull the knee to the nose, curl it in. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, cross it over to the right elbow and pause. Inhale the left leg up. Low lunge, step your foot through the hands. Step all the way up to the front of the mat, fold over the legs with your feet hip width distance apart. Let's grab onto our big toes in yogi toe lock. First two fingers of each hand, Padangusthasana. Big inhale, chest up. Exhale, round it down over the legs, shoulders away from the ears. And of course, if you're modifying here, just hang over the legs with your hands reaching opposite elbows. Deep breaths. Two more breaths. One more time. Good. On your next inhale, we're lifting the chest. Then release your right hand onto your waist. Start to shift your weight to the right leg. Put a little bend in your left knee. We're gonna press down through the right leg, coming up, holding onto our left foot. If you're modifying, you can just take your left hand to your left knee, if that's going to be a little more accessible for you. So press down through the right leg, chest up, look slightly in front of the mat, then start to come up, holding on to either your big left toe or the left knee. So the standing leg is solid, chest up, your shoulders line up over the hips, which line up over your right ankle. You can keep it here or press the left heel forward. All right, just gaze past the end of the nose. Let's take one more deep breath. Keep the left leg lifting, whether the left knee is bending or whether it's straight. Just let go of the foot, the knee, lift both arms up to the sky. Drop the left hip a little so the hips are both even here. Come into warrior three, sweep the left leg back, reach the fingertips forward. Again, strong standing leg, hips are level. And drop your fingertips toward the mat. Step into a low lunge, bring the left foot back on the mat. Good. Warrior one, spin the back heel down, float the arms high. This time in your warrior one, reach the arms behind the back and take one hand just on top of the other. If you want to go for it, you can also just reach your hands to opposite elbows. Keep the right knee bending, chest up, round over the front leg. If you want to work this a little bit deeper, the option is start to straighten the right leg, coming into Parsvottanasana. And of course, if you want to drop the hands and use blocks under the hands, that's an option as well. All right, just nice deep breaths. Take one more full breath. And start to bend at the right knee, lift the chest, come all the way back up, sweep the arms overhead, lower down both hands to the mat, down dog, step the right foot back. You can hold your down dog or flow through your plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog. And when we meet back in down dog again, let's put a little bend in the knees, look forward through the hands, step or hop the feet lightly to the front. Chest up, big inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round and fold. Keep the feet hip-width distance apart. Padahastasana, hand to foot pose. We're lifting the fronts of the feet, the toes. Slide the hands under as far as they'll go to the wrist crease. Just give it a try. Do the best you can. As you exhale, drop the toes down, head down. Continue folding over the legs. And if you were modifying, holding on to opposite elbows, then switch the hands to make sure the opposite hand is on top, gripping the side. Let's take two more breaths. And start to lift the chest, lengthen the spine. This time, exhale, bring your left hand onto your waist. Grab your big right toe in yogi toe lock. If you're modifying, you can take your hand to the right knee. Shifting your weight to the left leg, put a bend in the right knee, look slightly in front of your mat on the floor, press down, come up, holding onto the right leg. No points off for using the wall here. Chest up, standing legs solid, shoulders over the hips, hips over the left heel. You're either staying right here or extending the right leg forward. The right knee can bend, but your standing leg must be solid. Chest up, look forward, one more breath. Let's come into warrior three. Let go of the right leg, lift both arms up, drop the right hip a little to keep the hips level, sweep the right foot back as your fingertips continue reaching forward along the horizon. Take one more breath. Then drop your fingertips to the mat, low lunge, touch the right toes on the mat. Warrior one, spin the back heel, 45-degree angle, come all the way up. Sweep the arms back and either hands to one hand on top of the other. Switch it from the first side or hands to opposite elbows, and again, switch the grip. Bending up at the left knee to begin, chest up. Round it down, head down. And of course you can keep it here or start to straighten the left leg, rounding over the left shin. Parsvottanasana, modify as you need if you need, keeping the breath moving. One more full breath. Let's rebend the left knee, chest up, bring it all the way back up, arms overhead, warrior one. Lower both hands to the mat, down dog, step the left foot back. And you can either hold down dog, or if you want to flow through, you're taking your plank, chaturanga, inhale to the up dog. And let's take a brief child's pose. Lower the knees, separate the knees, toes together, hips to heels. Let's take 3 deep breaths. And come back up onto hands and knees. Press to down dog. This time in your down dog, we're lifting up the right leg, put a bend in the knee, come into pigeon pose, slide the right knee through behind the right wrist, left leg back. Sit tall, level the hips, using any props if you need under the right hip or thigh. Modify on your back if you need to. And if you're otherwise good here, start to walk the hands out. Lower your forehead down to the mat. Surrendering up to the stretch. One more deep breath. And as you start to release, walk the hands back in, lift the head, the chest up. Removing any props that might be under the right hip or thigh. Just roll to the right, bring the left leg around, coming into Janu Shirshasana. So your right foot presses against your inner left thigh. Sit tall, inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, reach forward, grab your left foot using a strap or belt if you need a more reasonable grip here. All right, just lengthen forward, drop the shoulders out of the ears. Take one more deep breath. Good, then start to lift up the chest. Take your hands to opposite sides of the right leg, the right hip. We'll lift the hips up off the mat, extend the left leg out with the left foot flat as the left arm sweeps overhead. So the hips come up, nice little back bend, opening the whole front side of the body, but it's an easy back bend, not anything super deep. Take one more deep breath in. As you exhale, come back to Janu Shirshasana. So the sit bones on the mat, the left leg straight. Let's lift the right knee up, step your right foot outside the left leg. We're going to do a nice seated spinal twist. Take the right arm, reach it back behind you, chest up. Wrap the left arm, twisting to the right side first. Lengthening the spine. On the exhales, you're going to squeeze from the belly a little bit more as you twist. Take one more deep breath. With an inhale, return to center. Exhale, counter stretch to the left side. Let's come back to center, unwrap the legs, bending at the knees, cross at the ankles, come on to hands and knees. Let's meet in downward facing dog. You can shake things off a bit in your down dog if you want to flow through again one more time. Feel free to do so. And from your downward facing dog, let's switch the sides. Big inhale, left leg up. Put a bend in the knee, come into pigeon pose, bring the knee through. Right leg back, sit tall. Level the hips, keep the right toes pointing back, using any props if you need under the left hip or thigh. Modify on your back if that makes sense for you to do. Walk the hands out, forehead down. Dropping the shoulders, soften the hands. Just leaning into the stretch. Letting the breath move through the body. Take one more deep breath. As you begin releasing out, slide the hands in, lift the head, the chest, removing any props that might be under the left leg. Just roll to the left side. Sweep the right leg around, extending your right leg straight forward. Janu Shirshasana. Keep the left foot pressing against the inner right thigh. Sit tall. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, come forward and grab the right foot, using any props if you need to help get you there. Drop the shoulders back, lengthening over the right leg. Deep breaths. One more full breath. On your next inhale, start lifting up the chest. Exhaling, releasing out the right foot. Take your hands now to opposite sides of your left leg. We're lifting the sit bones up off the mat. Extend the right leg out. Flatten the right foot so the toes and heel are down. Sweep your right arm over. Right, again, opening the whole front side of the body, a little bit of a back bend, gentle back bend, heart opener. One more breath. Let's come back down and setting up our twist. Lift the left knee, step the left foot over, Ardha Matsyendrasana, take the left arm back, sit tall and wrap the right arm as you twist to your left side. All right, again, you're going to be lengthening, sitting tall on the inhales and squeezing from the belly, twisting slightly deeper on the exhales. One more deep breath. With an inhale, come to center. Exhale, gently counter stretch to the right side. Let's return to the middle, unwrapping the legs, bending at the knees, roll onto your backs. And when you roll onto your backs, hug the knees in toward the chest. Yeah, maybe take a happy baby pose if that feels good. And bring your feet to the mat. Just one last thing before we wind down in Shavasana. So drop the arms on the mat, opposite sides of the body, arms facing down. Depending on how your back feels here, you can keep the arms here, or if you're like me and you know your low back needs a little more TLC, you can lift the hips, slide one hand on top of the other behind the lower back, and you'll understand why in a moment. So either the arms are alongside the body or hands behind the lower back. Lift both legs straight up toward the sky. Bring the knees, the feet, glue them together. You can put a little bend in the knees if they need to bend, that's fine, but make sure the knees and the feet are glued together. Take an inhale, lift the feet a little higher. On the exhale, drop the legs a third of the way down, then hold as you inhale. On the exhale, drop the legs another third, then hold, breathe in. Exhale the legs another third without touching your feet on the mat. Big inhale, bring the legs all the way up. Exhaling, lower the legs a third, breathe in. Exhaling the legs another third, hold as you inhale. Exhale the legs another third without touching the feet down. Big inhale, legs all the way up, last time. Exhaling, lower the legs a third, inhale. Exhale another third, hold. Exhale the legs another third, don't let the feet touch down. Inhale the legs all the way up, and release out, bring the knees in toward the chest again. That's it. And when you're released out enough, bring your feet onto the mat again. Come into Supta Baddha Konasana. Bring the soles of the feet together. Knees drop out, using any props if you need under the knees to support the hips, blankets, blocks, anything. Let your hands rest where they're comfortable. And if this feels like a reasonable spot for you to remain, you can stay here for your Shavasana, your final relaxation, or if you prefer, you can just start extending out the legs on the mat, coming into your traditional Shavasana with the arms out and the palms facing up. All right, just soften wherever you are, letting go. All right, releasing any tension in the body, closing the eyes. Settling into your space and having these few moments to let the body restore itself before returning to your day. Start to lengthen the breath. Wiggling fingers and toes, bringing awareness back to the body. Maybe reaching the arms overhead for a nice waking stretch. And bring the knees in toward the chest once again. And rolling slowly toward the side. Keeping the eyes closed a little while longer, start coming back up to a comfortable seated position on the mat. Bringing palms together at the heart, relaxing your chin to your chest. Just taking a moment once again, checking in with the breath, revisiting your intention, and always taking a moment honoring your efforts and honoring your practice today. Namaste.